Hey, welcome to KC Grandpa Tech, where your geeky grandpa talks tech solutions, and tech more, and how to. Listen, I want to give you a how to and a heads up. Recently, I moved to Florida, and we have a different type of central air system. And I want to talk to you about maintenance that you need to do to your central air to prevent yourself a major repair bill. So before I get into that, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to get into that maintenance that you should be doing once a month right now. Now, what I'm talking about is very simply this. Everyone knows with central air, you should change your central air filter every 2 to 3 months, depending upon the situation. In the springtime, when there's a lot of pollen and gook in the air, you want to change it every 2 months. During the wintertime, you may be every 3. You can get away with 3 months. But there is something else that you need to check and change and clean, and that is your drain tube. Now, what am I talking about? All central air systems have a drain tube that drains the condensation off the unit into a pan, and that goes into a tube and drains somewhere. Well, here in Florida, that tube goes outside onto the lawn. In some places, you may see it go into a box, and that is pumped up into the sewer. But either way, what happens to the tube is eventually it builds up with all kinds of contaminants. Dust, mold, hairspray, cooking oil in the air. All of that gook gets into that tube, and eventually it will get clogged. And the average service call cost to have that tube cleaned is around $325. So what I'm going to show you is going to help you not spend that money. Now, the recommended maintenance is that you add vinegar or chlorine bleach to the tube once every month during high use seasons. There's been much debate about this, about chlorine bleach versus vinegar, mainly because older systems use metal pipe and the chlorine bleach is very corrosive. So the thing of it is to use a distilled vinegar. I use a distilled vinegar, 45%, does a great job of cleaning it out. And what you're going to do, and I'm going to show you the video in a second, is that you want to turn off the air conditioning system, open your drain access, pour in a 1/4 cup of distilled vinegar into that tube, let it sit for 30 minutes, and then after 30 minutes, put a good cup of water, a large amount of water down the tube to flush out all the contaminants and everything that is loosened. So let's get into the video, and I'll cut back and give you some final information. So what I'm talking about here, everyone knows that they're supposed to replace the air filter on your central air system. What a lot of people don't know about, like here in Florida and other states, you have a drain tube that drains the condensation water out into some type of pipe, either into the sewer or somewhere else. But here in Florida, that water is drained through a tube, and you have a sensor right here. You probably can see it with red wires, and that sensor tells us if this drain tube gets clogged. Now, the monthly maintenance on this tube is supposed to be done once every month during the summertime, especially during spring. So let me point out to you exactly what I'm talking about. Right in here on your drain tube, usually on everyone has a different one. You see the opening that opens here? And you'll require a funnel and vinegar, about a 1/4 cup. And you put you'll turn off your air conditioner, put your funnel into here. I'll put that down for a second. And then you'll need to pour about approximately a 1/4 cup of distilled vinegar into there. Let it sit for about 30 minutes, and then follow it with a large cup of water to flush it out. Then just simply replace your access cap on this. Now, you say, what kind of, if I don't do this maintenance, it's going to cost you about $320 $25 to $400 for a service call, for a simple reason is this. And that is, if this tube gets backed up, there's an emergency safety switch right here. So I'm going to try to zoom in on it a little bit better. In fact, I'm going to move the camera a little bit so you can see it. You probably can see it better. And here it is, and you can see this is a float. So if this tube gets clogged, this water level will rise, and eventually what it'll do is it'll shut off the air conditioner. Or another condition will occur, and that is simply this, is that if the water is draining slowly, the tube will float, the air conditioning will shut off, and then it'll come back on again. And this will continue to happen until eventually the system is completely clogged. Now, one of the telltale signs you're going to hear on your air conditioning system is a large banging noise. And what that is as the water goes up and down on here, it's turning on and off the system, and you'll actually sometimes hear the compressor turn on and give a large banging sound. And what that banging sound is the compressor going into an emergency stop. So you can prevent all that by doing a monthly maintenance right here and adding a 1/4 cup of distilled vinegar into here and waiting 30 minutes and then flushing it with a cup of water. Now, what do you do if the system is completely clogged? And we're going to get into that right now. Now, isn't that a beautiful sound? My central air is running really nice. But what we're talking about is your drainage tube. As you can see, it's right here, comes out next to your air conditioning system, and you can see all this gook that came out. Now, what I talked about when I put that vinegar in the system, let it sit for 30 minutes, and then flush it out. You can see all of this gook that came out of the pipe. And if you don't clean this pipe on a frequent basis, this will back up, and eventually your air conditioning system will shut down, and you won't hear that beautiful sound of your air conditioner running. And that's what you want. Now, if this tube gets clogged, as you can see, it's just a plain ordinary tube. You can do a lot of things. You see that? One thing you can do is you can take your shop vac, put it over this tube, and try to suck out the guck. If that doesn't work, you take your garden hose, push it in, and spray inside here a couple times, not for very long, maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and try to keep connecting your shock vac hose directly to this hose until you break the clog. And then from that point on, obviously, you're going to take your vinegar and add it to the tube every month. So I hope that's been helpful for you. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know that you had a tube and you had to maintain it. I mean, it's one of the most simplest things to do. And I didn't know, because my air conditioner started making these banging sounds, and the people in my neighborhood said, "Hey, you're supposed to put vinegar down on the tube." And I went, "What? Nobody ever told me." So that's why I did my research and found out that recommendation is either to put a 1/4 cup of chlorine bleach or a 1/4 cup of vinegar. The push now is to put the vinegar because they're finding that the older pipes, the chlorine bleach eats through them. So they're recommending you use the vinegar. And then, of course, flush it out when you finish. And you can see all the gook that came out of my system. And so you want to prevent yourself from having a problem. But if you do have a problem, I've told you how to fix it by taking a vacuum and sucking out the tube, using your garden hose until you eventually get that tube clear. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back with more videos on how-to, tech reviews, tech solutions, and all kinds of things. Until next time, you have a great day.